Hey guys, TheAirsoftTech here, and this is Airsoft Tech Talk, episode 6. Okay, so before we get down into the questions, I would like to just say a couple things. First off, we hit 1,000 subscribers. I think now we have like 1,010 or 12, but 1,000 subs, which is awesome. I'm gonna make a video of me just thanking you guys, but I just want to say that, I haven't been totally oblivious to that. I noticed we hit 1,000 the other day, and I've been ecstatic. Second off, I'm sorry that my desk is an absolute garbage heap right now. I have been working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 guns right now. And it's crazy. Only 2 are done, really, for the most part. My DSG is done. It's really sweet. I'll do a video on that later. And this GMP M4 build is done. It was JG Blue, 14-to-1 gears and all that stuff. But yeah, I'll be making videos on all these guns, so expect stuff. I'm on spring break, so we're going to have a lot of cool stuff going on over this next week. In addition, I'm working on VFC M27 IAR, one of the limited edition ones, which is just awesome. I'm going to be doing a build series on this one where we just go through the whole thing and touch it up to be a sick gun. In addition, you can tell that up right here there's a little logo somewhere right there, and I had that logo designed for me by a friend of mine, and I'll link him something in the description because he does awesome work, and he needs more people coming to him for work because he just does just awesome work. I love it. But yeah, sorry for the junk heap. We hit 1,000 subs and logo and tons of guns working on. But now let's finally get down to those questions. Kyle N asks, I have a question. G&G is making that new gun, Firehawk or something like that will be firing 30 RPS installed with a DSG. Would you as a tech use one of these G&G sector gears? You talked pretty highly of their gears. Or would you stick to using the Riot SC dual sector gear? My heart, it belongs to SiegeTech, so I'm sticking with SiegeTech. Well, actually, before I say that, that's basically the short answer. The long answer is saying G&G makes good gears, that's a fact. I've used their gears in DSGs and DMRs and high-speed SSGs. They've been just fine. However, they're still ACM, and if G&G were to produce something like this, I could see them trying to sell it for something like $40, maybe $50, and maybe they'd include a bevel and a spur, but like that's still a lot of money to spend for an ACM gear set that may not work because it may be shoddy on the quality side. And if it does break, you're out of money because they can't guarantee its quality. On the other hand, SiegeTech, they build gears in the United States, and that's them, and they can guarantee quality much more easily when it's built right here in the homeland of the USA. I would stick with SiegeTech on this one simply because reliability, good name as far as it has a reputation to hold up, and lifetime warranty. So all cards on the table, hands down, I'm sticking with SiegeTech. Zachary Gamerman asks, what is your forum name on ASM? Yes, I am on ASM, Airsoft Mechanics Forum, and my username is Pegasus, capital P-E-G-A-S-U-S. And I'm rarely on there though. Last time I logged on was probably over a year ago, so you're not going to find me on there. I used to be on forums a lot, but then I just stopped. After I got the ropes in of teching, I just stopped on Airsoft Society, Airsoft Forum, and ASM, mainly because I just didn't really like getting on forums anymore. I am on Airsoft Teching Q&A on Facebook. If you do want to find me on there, message me or whatever, you can. But yeah, that's my username, but I'm rarely on ASM, so if your goal is to find me or something, good luck, I guess. Call sign Smalls asks, what's your favorite FET that isn't produced by a major company? Example, BTC and NukeFET. I use the Kelly Colburn MOSFET as my go-to MOSFET when I do a LiPo-ready upgrade build for anybody, and they're very small, they're very affordable, and they're incredibly durable. I love them. I've never broken one. That's surprising coming from me because I've broken almost every other FET out there. So yeah, I really do love his FETs. They're great, and I actually do have 2 right here. These are his newer models. I just got these today actually, and I won't do necessarily a full video review on them, but I will do a review within a video of like a build video or something like that, and I'll talk about the MOSFET, why exactly I like it and stuff like that. But yeah, the Kelly Colburn MOSFET is my go-to MOSFET for regular builds. Yoshi Brotherhood asks, what's your opinion on the Aries/Elite Force micro switches in general? Okay, so I like the micro switch concept when it works. Now, if you're going to use a micro switch in a stock gun and run an 11 1-volt LiPo on it, more than likely it's going to fail. However, if you install a MOSFET onto it and you run a good, let's just say 13-to-1 high-speed setup, like 35 RPS, just throw some out there, and using 11 1-volt on that setup, you're going to get some really snappy trigger response and a really good reset time. It's going to it's gonna reset very fast, and you don't have to let the trigger go all the way forward to let the trigger trolley reset like you would on a normal trigger setup. On a micro switch setup, you just kind of let it reset as far as the button goes, and then it's fine. But I really do like micro switches. They work great in combination with a MOSFET, and so I really like the idea. However, I haven't been able to find the cutoff levers, an upgrade version of them to work with Aries and Elite Force micro switches, because it's kind of a proprietary cutoff lever design, so you're not going to be able to find very many upgrade parts or even replacement parts. I haven't been able to find an upgrade setup, but I haven't looked for a replacement setup either. Yeah, I do like the setup, if it's used properly, in other words, with a MOSFET and stuff like that. I have heard some people saying that AB does not, or active braking does not work with micro switches, but if I remember correctly, in my understanding of how micro switches work, they should work fine with active braking MOSFETs, but I've heard some people saying that it doesn't, so I'm not sure on that. I need to talk to somebody and actually clear that up, somebody who does build active braking MOSFETs. If somebody knows, definitely say so in the comments, source your information so we can get this sorted out. Lincoln Runyon asks, I have a question. Do I really have to cut my barrel down under 350 millimeters when using a DSG? Long answer short, no. You don't have to cut your barrel down below 350 millimeters to get a proper DSG. Now, for DSGs, you really want to get the shortest barrel you can really get on a setup. Something below 300 millimeters is usually what I try to go with. However, I've heard some people using like 400 plus millimeter barrels and the 9-tooth DSG with a bore-up kit and an M190 spring that's been spaced. Now, that's not your average run-of-the-mill DSG, though. That's something pretty impressive, pretty rigorous and stuff like that. The longest you should take a barrel out to for a regular DSG should be 363 millimeters. That is what C-Check, if I remember correctly, recommends the maximum to be. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, but I believe I'm right on that one. Like I said, you don't have to, but I like to keep it as short as possible as far as the barrel goes. The AEG Tech asks, I have a good topic. Lonex motors are extremely hyped up and they cost a lot, and do the same as other motors. Why is there such a hype behind them? I have personally never liked them besides the brushes. Very good question. First off, I do not necessarily like Lonex motors. They're not my first go-to motor anymore. And I know people are going to just shoot me and crucify me in the comments and on Instagram or wherever they can find me. But I do not like Lonex motors, and I have reasons, so hold on. Reason number one, the freaking magnets. I do not like the magnets in Lonex motors, mainly because they're so weak, they're so stupid. Granted, they're neo magnets, and granted they get the job done. However, they're thin, they're weak, and the Lonex motor is expensive. So when I pay for a $48 motor, and once I pay shipping, it's $50-something, and it comes here and it's got weak magnets, and I just don't like that because it makes the motor get hot quickly, which is losing efficiency, which is losing energy. I don't like it, and when I pay for a $48 motor, I would like to have better magnets like ZCI, like SHS. Motors that are cheaper with better magnets. Reason number two, the stupid orange end bell lock. Now, I do not like this part because it's plastic, number one. That's really the only reason I don't like it. When you make one of these, and what I'm talking about is this thing right here, it locks inside the can, it fits in there, and you screw the end bell into these little holes here. And that works great when it's metal. When it's plastic, however, it strips out like the second or third attempt at taking apart the motor. And I don't like that. Being somebody who takes apart their motors a lot and builds motors and tunes them and stuff like that, this makes it really, really difficult, because if I take apart a Lonex motor and it just strips because the plastic threads are, garbage, then it's the motor's fault. And if I'm paying $48 and, like I said, $50-something by the time I get done paying shipping, and I get something in that could have been just a little bit better if they would have paid, an extra 4 cents to get this. I mean, I don't know how much that would cost, but it can't be that much in the grand scheme of things. Then that would be so much better. But Lonex doesn't. Now, one could make the argument that, hey, you're not supposed to take apart Lonex motors. They come perfectly, perfectly tuned and armature shimmed, and it's got a good pinion on it, and nothing needs to be taken apart in it because it comes tuned. Well, yes, you could say that. However, Lonex motors have a bad problem of breaking down just randomly. Their quality control has gone from here down to here. Recently, that is. Some people have had good luck, other people haven't. I, on the other hand, have not had good luck. So, I take apart a motor to clean it, and I strip the little stupid piece right here. I get very well irritated. Reason number three, the brushes and the dang commutator. Now, I don't like Lonex brushes. They wear out very easily. I've got a Lonex motor in my ICS M16, and I've actually replaced the brushes on them before, within, I think it was 4 months or 5 months of use, which is ridiculously short time span, and the brushes were like non-existent. So they wear out incredibly fast. I had to replace them or else my motor would have failed. The commutator, it is just very bad. It's kind of like a quality control kind of thing though. Sometimes you can get one that rocks the house and it never breaks down, and then other times you can get one that just passes out, it just dies and has a coma and just never comes back to life. That's basically how people have described this issue with the commutator. People have tried polishing it, they've tried sanding it down, getting a good contact surface, all of it again, but they just can't figure this one out. And I'm kind of the same way. I'm kind of stuck on this. Whenever I do get a Lonex motor in that has this problem, I don't know what to do, and I try my best to fix it. Sometimes it just randomly fixes itself, and motors are still kind of weird, so we're still trying to learn some things about motors. But still, when the commutator just craps out on you, it's kind of difficult to justify paying, yet again, $48 and after shipping $50 something to get a motor that has a good reputation, but at the same time just starting to really suck. Believe it or not, there are actually things I do like about the Lonex motor, and I've got one right here. This is just one I've had for a little while. I don't know where I got it. I can't remember. But anyway, things I do like about the Lonex motor. It comes very well shimmed out of the box, if you ask me. It's not tight, it's not loose, it's right where it should be, if you ask me. Thing I like about number 2. The armature itself is actually really well wound, it's well balanced, it's just fantastic, except the commutator. Other than that, I don't like much about these motors. Now the pinions are kind of cool. They mesh well with a lot of gears, and they have a great sound because they're soft, and that gets a good sound between bevel and pinion. If you shim it right, then you will have no issues as far as it breaking down. I've ran these on DSGs, and this one was ran on DSG, and it has almost no wear on the pinion. It's just a little discolored from
wearing the coating off. But other than that, this motor is all right. Now, if it was like $30, I'd pay for it. But since it's like 48, I'd probably pay for even 40. But like, since it's 48 after shipping, 50 plus, it's hard to justify getting this motor. Now, the hype in these motors comes from when they used to be really good. Now, techs, adored this motor when it was good because it never failed. It could pull tons of springs at like a ridiculous rate of fire, and it's all kinds of awesome stuff. But since they started to fail, it's given us kind of the reason to doubt them. And that's why you see a lot of techs recommending ZCI motors. That's why you see a lot of techs recommending SHS motors. That's why you see a lot of techs recommending JG motors, because they're great, and they have yet to fail on a lot of techs. Now, I know some techs have had SHS motors fail. I know some techs have had ZCI motors fail. And I know very few techs have had JG Blue motors fail. But like I said, the hype is due to people actually saying they were good when they were good. And then the hype just kind of stayed there. But yeah, that's Lonex Motors explained. Okay, that will have to do for Airsoft Tech Talk, episode 6. I did this one all by myself, so it's a lot shorter than the last one, so maybe more people will watch this one, I don't know. But I have a great time with these videos. I hope you guys enjoy them. Like I said, I've got a ton of stuff going on, planned for next week because I'm on spring break, and I'm so excited to get off from school and to get working on teching, and then to post more videos for you guys, because I absolutely love doing this, and I love YouTube airsoft stuff. It's great, but I really do have a fun time with this. I'm trying to convey that same amount of ecstatic behavior, I guess you could say. So I do hope you guys enjoy this episode. As always, if I'm wrong on something, definitely correct me below, and we'll definitely sort it out as quick as possible. But until then, I am the Airsoft Tech, and I will see you guys next time.